Welcome to Soar America. The Soar America team includes Eric, our pilot, who is going to attempt to fly his glider from coast to coast in a series of connected flights and only be the second person to achieve this goal. The rest of the team includes Julie, Tim, Diane, and Tim and Diane's dogs Peggy and Ellie. Join us as we soar, camp, and drive across America. So we are on the way to Casa Grande Airport in Arizona for Eric to take his fourth launch. What are you thinking today?
Well, overall the forecast looks good, looks better than the previous 3 flying days. The wind is more favorable, lighter wind, so hopefully the thermals will be more organized, and on average a tailwind component, so that should help. Should be able to climb to 12,000 feet or so, maybe 13 a time or two. The landing options are fairly good on this route, better than on the last couple of legs. So I'm hopeful. I'm aiming big for about a 300-mile flight today. That's probably unlikely, but maybe I can get at least 2. We're prepared to hopefully launch by around 12:30. This looks about right. So we'll see.
Casa Grande traffic glider Quebec Victor departing 23 Casa Grande.
Descend down to approach altitude. Stanfield. Does that make 4,500 empty?
Well, it's been tough going so far. I've only made about 35 miles of progress, and it's almost 2 o'clock. Haven't gotten above 8,000 feet yet, and I seem to be descending between thermals about as quickly as I climb while in them. The climb rate in thermals is better than the last couple of flights. I'm
turn 20 degrees right, vector 45.
Averaging 4 knots so far, but there's just so much sink between thermals that I'm having to spend way too much time circling. Maybe it'll get better. The forecast said the farther I go east, the better it gets, at least for the first 100 miles or so. So we'll see. This feels like it could be the best thermal yet. Maybe they'll keep getting better. I've averaged 7.5 knots in this one so far after 3 or 4 circles. Well, I'm about 45 miles into the flight. Just climbed through 10,000 for the first time. I'm at about 10,500. And you may be able to notice a haze layer. We're kind of right at the haze layer. Generally that means that's about as high as you're going to get. And the climb rate was slowing down, so I'm leaving this one. Hopefully it continues to get even better to the east. The calculated winds keep shifting back and forth between a slight tailwind and a slight headwind, so it's basically just a crosswind from the right at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So my calculated arrival altitude at near El Paso, where I'd really like to make. That's a pretty ambitious call, though. Keeps fluctuating pretty wildly between about minus 30,000 feet and minus 50 to 60,000 feet. So if it's minus 30,000, I might can make that. Minus 60, pretty doubtful. So I'll keep pressing on and get what I can get.
So here we are on the road. We are headed into Tucson. We've been watching Eric and we're tracking him, and he's texting us his location every now and then too, and we'll just see where he ends up. But we think it's gonna be a late night no matter what. But where we stop, what state, what time zone, we don't know yet. We'll see.
The wind is basically from my right now. So I'm going to fly by and over the right edge of this mountain, hoping to find a good thermal there. My landing option of choice right now is a little behind me, so I need more altitude to be able to press on. I'm about 8,700 feet right now. I'd sure like to be up at 11 or 12. After 2 laps along that ridge face, finding nothing really good, I decided to head backtrack toward my landing option, and just at the foot of the ridge found this. So that's a lesson I learned many times in hang gliding, that if you'll press out in front of the ridge, often you find the stronger thermals. So I don't know why I was so slow to do it this time. Wasted a lot of time there, wasted about 10 minutes. Was down to 6,500. Well, that was a real struggle getting past Tucson. I safely have the next probably self-launchable airport ahead of me made. I am almost within reach of the next definite one. I'm at 9,500 feet now. I need another 1,000 or 2 to comfortably have the next definitely self-launchable field made. It's 40 miles away. I don't think I'll be able to show you the Dust Devil. It's almost directly under me, but I believe this is its thermal. Nice, and now that I'm out over the lake bed, I see several Dust Devils. There's one out there. Several Dust Devils on the lake bed. There's that good one from earlier. It has moved, drifted this way. They drift with the wind, typically. I've been seeing a couple move through that dark green, those dark green rectangles. So that's interesting that it can pick up enough dust from an area that has vegetation on it. Green stuff means they're probably watering it. So that's impressive to pull up a Dust Devil in the midst of a crop, I would think. I've never flown with Dust Devils before, so what do I know? And there's a line of Dust Devils here roughly with the wind. One under me, one a little bit of wind of me, and then another one straight up that same line. So 3 in a row, and then there's another one right there, and another one right there. So I see 5 more or less lined up with the wind. And thermals tend to do that often, line up with the wind. Unfortunately, I need to go crosswind. So I won't get to play with this line of dust devils much longer, but I'll go try those. This has been a good thermal. I've climbed almost 2,000 feet in it. So far, I've averaged almost 8 knots in it. Sure is nice to have some sort of visual marker of a thermal. And there sure aren't cumulus clouds out here today, so dust devil is the next best thing. If I were closer to the ground than cloud-based, dust devil would be the best thing. Or a circling bird. I haven't seen any of those though. What would a bird eat in the desert where there's nothing living? Almost nothing. Nothing compared to Alabama where I live, so. We have a lot more hawks and vultures in Alabama. They have a lot to eat there. A lot of rats, mice, rabbits, roadkill, whatever. Wow, I did not expect my best climb so far to be out over a dry lake bed. It's a little cold up here though. Outside air temperature 42 degrees. It helps that I'm turning back toward the sun. Spinning half my circle facing the sun, because when I head east and the sun's behind me, I get cold. If it's below about 50 outside air temperature. I have all the vents closed right now and it's still chilly. I just saw something interesting, and you'll see it when I turn back around. That line of dust devils, what did I count? 5 or 6 of them? They all appear to have died now, and now it just looks like wispy dust. That's what I think I was seeing in the distance earlier. So that's interesting. If they were all on the same line and drifting together, maybe when each one got to where the other one started, all the hot air had been sucked up in that area already and they had no more hot air and were exhausted. I don't know. That's weird. I'll have to ponder that one, but that's very interesting. There were 5 or 6 active dust devils in a row last time I was looking, and now, 5-10 minutes later I look back and they're all dead. Cool stuff. I was able to get to 14,300-ish in that climb. It's about an hour and a half before sunset. I just barely have dimming made. If I could find another 5,000 feet, I could have Doña Ana County. It's unlikely this late, but you never know. Sometimes there's just a magical late day, nice thermal, or I might could just float my way in on a lot of weak thermals. It's doubtful, but I at least have dimming made. It's probably that's not quite 300 miles. I think it's over 250. Not totally sure. I hope you can see it. Something above the horizon, almost off my nose. I'll say when. It's off my nose now. Kind of white, shiny, large. I think that is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen on the sectional chart. It's a tethered balloon, and I am almost 6,000 feet above the ground, and it's higher than I am. I don't remember how high that area goes, but I will give it a wide berth and stay out of that zone because there's a cable between that balloon and the ground. Cable, string, something. Something I do not want to hit. Weird. Well, I tried really hard to make it to Doña Ana. Then I gave up and tried Las Cruces, which is a little bit closer. And I was just finding more sink than lift. Barely had it made, and there was nowhere I'd like to land between here and Las Cruces. So I'm turning back, backtracking 15 miles to land at Deming. It's about 30 minutes before sunset.
Northward traffic at wing 96, senior up to 100 is left face for runway